Well, good morning on this Monday after the Christmas holiday, and thank you so much for joining us here at 10 o'clock for Live Impact News on 13 News Now Plus. Certainly hope that your holiday went really well, and happy Kwanzaa to those who are now celebrating that as well. Thanks for watching us here on 13 News Now Plus in our streaming studio here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. I am joined again by producer Sarah Calloway. It's been a few days, more than a week or so since we've seen each other, and also meteorologist Taylor Stephenson, who is in the room as well. And it is good to see you guys again. I'm back from a few days off also, and hopefully your holiday celebrations went pretty well. I mean, I'm going to get to you because I hope you can pull up the photo that we're going to talk about in a bit. But for Sarah, how did things go for you over the holiday?
It was really good. I got to see all of my family. They all are now in this area, so it was really good to spend, the holiday with them. And I don't think I've ever had that much time off around the holidays before, so having a full week off to really enjoy it was really nice.
Oh man, that is really special. I know for me, same. Not necessarily in town like for you, like in this immediate area, but for me, moving to the East Coast where both of my siblings are, my sisters, and now I can just drive like I did over the last few days and see my sister and her 3 kids. I was telling y'all before the broadcast that, we're all from the South, and I realized these kids are Northerners. Like, they're from New Jersey. They were talking to me and asking me why I said certain words the way I did, like when I say many, as in several. My niece was like, do you spell that with an A-N-Y or an I-N-I? I was like, hey, hold on. Hold on. But it was good to spend time with them. What did you do, Taylor?
So Eugene already knows the Lord.
I teed it up.
Yeah. So Sarah, we talked about last week, like our holiday traditions, and my mom and my sister, they always go to Golden Corral on Christmas Day. Now, I haven't been home on Christmas Day since 2022. It's been a minute. So I was not informed about this tradition until the week before Christmas. And my mom was like, hey, Taylor, we're going to go to your least favorite restaurant for Christmas Day. I was like, are you talking about Golden Corral? And she was like, yes. I was like, now, let me talk about, I don't want to slander Golden Corral. I'm not a Golden Corral hater. It's just that growing up in the South, Golden Corral is a big thing, especially like for those who go to church, after church, always packed. I just feel like we went so much that you can only do a buffet like that so many times to where I get sick of it. So I was just sick of it, not necessarily like a hater, but I was just sick and tired of Golden Corral. So we went, I wore my SpongeBob Christmas pajamas and, ate a couple plates. I got full after plate 1. Now I will say, I don't know what they did, but their fried chicken recipe is better. It's actually pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. And of course I had to get the rolls and the mac and cheese. So
is it that the recipe is better? It's been so long you need a refresher, because sometimes that is what happens.
That might be it. I haven't been in like years. Yeah. So it may just be that, okay, this is not like, I don't know what they call it, but you know how like your palate just gets so numb to flavor when you have the same thing over and over? Maybe I just needed to have like a little bit of a break.
That's like me with powdered donuts as a kid. I ate so many. Please don't ever bring one close to me now. I can't do it. But you were talking about Golden Corral. You hit it on the head. For me growing up, church, basketball games, family outings. I mean, our family might as well have invested in Golden Corral stock. I mean,
know,
that's how
same.
often we were there as when I was a kid. So I feel you on that. But having it as a holiday tradition is...
It's hilarious.
Top tier.
It's hilarious. And it just goes to show, I told y'all a few weeks ago, my family, they're not the best cooks. So it makes sense why they would go to Golden Corral, because all you got to do is sit down, grab a plate. Now, I will say the biggest update I have is that there's no more chocolate fountain. Right.
COVID probably got rid of that, no?
Well, yeah, just the germs in general. Kids putting their hands in their mouth and putting it back in the chocolate and back and forth. But I was like, where's the chocolate fountain? And my sister said it's been gone for a minute. So.
Oh, that's actually disappointing, but probably safer.
Yeah. But the ice cream was great. I love their little ice cream machine. So.
I would always put gummy bears on mine.
Yeah, I used to do that too.
She texted me the photo. I can't remember what day it was. And
It was Christmas Day.
I laughed for minutes. Just like, she really would. Because I think we were on the stream.
We
When you
were.
first talked about going to Golden Corral, I think for maybe our holiday special that aired on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But I'm glad that each of you were able to spend time with family.
Yeah,
Like
me
I
too.
said, like me too, being able to be around my sister, her husband, and 3 kids. Oh, my goodness. She got 3 of them.
Yeah.
And for the first time, my niece, who is now 1, she's very standoffish on people that aren't her parents or her siblings or my dad, grandpa. But man, you would have thought we'd have been best buds forever, man. The entire time she was just in my arms and just we were singing together.
Was she
you know.
walking around? Is
Oh
she
yeah,
walking?
she's walking.
Yeah, okay.
She's getting into everything that she possibly can. So it's really good, and that's really what the holidays really are about, to be able to spend it with the people that you love. And then also shout out to all the people who are grieving this time
Yeah.
too. We had a doctor come in, a therapist come in last week to talk about holiday grief. So many people are dealing with that and having to brace for, the emotional impact over the holidays because of loss of loved ones, and even those who it may be fresh or it feels fresh because every year, so definitely thinking about all of you also. So
Yeah.
speaking of the holidays, yes, we're over Christmas. A lot of people probably going back and giving those returns from gifts, which I know was kind of impacted though where I was, because it was snowing and ice and snow. I was in New Jersey, New York. And so that was impacted. So probably more people doing it now, but we also have New Year's Day and New Year's Eve coming up. So Taylor, for those who are trying to keep an eye on the forecast, what are we looking like? We gonna be outside, or is it gonna be
You
warm? What's it
could
gonna look like?
be. You could be regardless. People go outside regardless of what the actual conditions are. But I will say here, you could be outside. You just need to bundle up as you're out the door heading into your New Year's Eve night. But the chill starts tomorrow morning. Now, I will say here in Hampton Roads, we had a pretty pleasant Christmas week where we really weren't dealing with a lot of big weather issues. But we did have a big cool down by the end of the week. So Christmas Day was warm, then the Friday after Christmas got chilly again. We had a warm up through the weekend, and the warm up continues today. Here's a look of where we're going from this to that. Forecast highs today have already pretty much been reached, middle 60s. But then you look at tomorrow morning, and we're going to drop from this morning to tomorrow morning anywhere from 30 to 40 degrees. It's going to be a huge drop. Now, don't let this just be the one thing you look at, the 29 degrees. You add on the fact that we have wind gusts up to about 30 miles per hour tomorrow morning, it's going to feel like the teens and 20s stepping out the door. So very chilly for us through the beginning of the day tomorrow. So this already fast forwarded to the 7-day forecast, so I guess a little sneak peek for that. But let's go ahead and go back to what I'm seeing here. Sometimes, graphic systems act a little funny. Skyview right now shows the blue skies going on across the Virginia Beach oceanfront. It's actually a really beautiful morning. I saw a couple people who may just not have work today, or who may be in for the holiday week. They're out on the oceanfront right now, and I'm actually going to point them out with my little clicker because I can see them from this view. Here are some people. If my clicker works, here's some people right here. There's another person walking by themselves right about here.
Yeah, I saw someone running on the bridge right behind you in the shot that we have earlier. So people are out there. Yeah.
People are outside. It feels great. Why not? I went out for a walk yesterday with my weighted vest, and I was freezing cold. So I would take this morning in the 60s versus yesterday's chillier, upper 40s, lower 50s. Now, right now, temperatures have reached the mid 60s. We're at 66 degrees now in Norfolk. That is about 10 to 15 degrees above normal for this time of year. We should be somewhere around 53 degrees. So this is an abnormally warm day, especially for morning temperatures, to say the least. But this is because we have these southwest winds. These pull in this warmer, more moist air mass, and that's ahead of our cold front. And now we also had a warm front move through this morning that helped to really spike those temperatures as well. But today I'm watching for our cold front, and that's going to drop our temperatures this evening. Temperatures around the area, the further north you go, the cooler it is. You can see temperatures near Tappahannock, Saluda, Melfa, in those lower 60s, 62 degrees right now in Melfa, with southwest winds up to 25 miles per hour. That's not the gust. That's the actual sustained winds at the moment. So if you're heading out the door anytime soon, or you're thinking, hey, I want to be like those people out on the Virginia Beach oceanfront and go for an outdoor walk or run, it will be breezy. So just be mindful of that. Here's another look at what's going on here in Eatonton. Temperatures in the middle 60s, southwest winds 14 miles per hour. But overall, lots of sunshine. Satellite and radar shows where the cutoff is between the have and have-nots when it comes to the sunshine. We're seeing temperatures in the 60s area wide, but sunny skies as you get in places like Elizabeth City, Eatonton, Nags Head, even Virginia Beach into Chesapeake. But the clouds starting to really filter in here in Norfolk and the peninsulas and the western south side. It's kind of that signal that something is to come, and that's going to be this cold front that's draped through the western portions of Virginia. Right now, as you can see in Lynchburg, Farmville, and South Boston, it's currently raining. And so we're going to see those scattered showers moving through our area later on this afternoon into the early evening. So here's a look at the timeline of the rain, the cloud cover, and when things will eventually drop off. We're going to see the rain building in right around lunchtime around the I-95 corridor. This rain is going to move from west to east mainly, but really northwest to southeast. Temperature still through noon will be in the mid 60s, but we also will have wind gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. And by the time we get to around 1 to 4 p.m. today, that's when the rain moves through the heart of Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina. This rain, though, will be light to moderate in nature. I'm not talking widespread rainfall, not talking heavy downpours. It's just going to be some scattered showers that will be gone in the blink of an eye. By about 5 p.m., we're done with the cloud cover, we're done with the rain, but we're also done with the warmth. Notice how much the temperatures drop by 5 p.m. We're in this mid-60s now. By 5 o'clock, we've already dropped 10 to maybe even 15 degrees. Wind gusts gusting up to about 40 miles per hour. Then you get into Monday night, and by 10 o'clock, we're talking temperatures hovering just above freezing around places inland, in the upper 30s and lower 40s around the coast. Clear skies, but a very, very cool night. Now, for those who may be working on the water today on your boats, it is important to know that we do have some marine warnings and advisories. So here's a look. We have small craft advisories in place for the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. That's going to last until 3 p.m. today. We're going to see southwest winds to southwest winds to west winds, 15 to 25 knots, gusts up to 35 in the bay, waves 3 to 4 feet, but the occasional 5-foot wave cannot be ruled out. In the Atlantic Ocean, we're going to have southwest to west winds 15 to 30 knots, gusts up to 35, and we could see seas 5 to 6 feet with the occasional 7 to 9 foot sea. Low tide just occurred around 10:19, but high tide is just after the top of the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon. What I want you to know, though, is that these small craft advisories last until 3 p.m., but gale warnings, which is an even higher warning, goes into effect at 3 p.m. through this evening to early tomorrow morning. So be very careful as those seas do get a bit choppy. Now, here's a look at Futurecast wind chill, and this is stopped right at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Feels like temperatures across the 757 and the 252 will be in the teens and 20s. A very, very cold start to our day tomorrow. It doesn't improve much as we go throughout the day. We're going to have a lot of sunshine, but because that cold air is so powerful, that sunshine really won't do much to help us warm up. Morning temperatures start off in the 20s and 30s. By the afternoon, we scrape into the 40s. But because we still will have wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour, it's going to feel more like freezing during the afternoon tomorrow. So don't let the sunshine fool you. It's not going to be a warm day, but it will be a pretty day, just very, very cold. And that chill does linger into your New Year's Eve plan. So for those who may be going to Last Night on the Town and, going to see Marta MC the event and ring in the new year, whether you're going to be doing your own celebrations here in Hampton Roads, just know that it will be in the 40s, clear and cold throughout the area, and you need to bundle up. It's just going to be a cold night. The problem is the cold air is really here to stay. Not seeing much improvements through the early parts of the new year into the end of the week and the first weekend of 2026. Temperatures will stay in the 40s through early next week with our next chance of rain on Saturday.
Taylor, I appreciate the breakdown. And, it doesn't seem like, I think there have been past years here where I know when I first got here, I was surprised, where it just was really cold on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And I know a part of that feeds into it for a lot of places. Definitely if you're from up north or the Midwest, or you take some time to travel up maybe to New York City to see the ball drop. It kind of feeds into the nostalgia of going into this new year. I'm appreciative that, I'm not experiencing things like in the 20s, et cetera, when it comes to New Year's, and I can be outside. I love that for me. That's great for me. So, but do you guys have any plans for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
Go ahead, Sarah. I saw you nod your head.
Well, I'm working for the most part. I think we have an earlier show, so I should be home for the ball drop, which would be nice.
Okay.
But we also have some friends staying with us that are going to be hanging out with my husband, and it'll be nice to have them because we haven't had anybody over since we bought our house. So this will be kind of the first people who are actually staying with us.
Hanging out with your husband because you'll be asleep?
Well, I will be at work.
Okay, got you. That makes sense. What about you, Taylor?
I'm going to try to get up to Baltimore. We're going to see. I've been having car issues, and depending, the train routes are so, few and far between, and they end so early. We'll see. I do have to work on New Year's Eve, so that's kind of the issue, is that I do work. So it depends on, work and how well that's going. We'll see. If not, I'm just going to have to say it's a loss. I'm just going to have to stay at home and just ring in the new year by myself. So it's all right.
Listen, it's okay. I mean, obviously, I think I'll probably be asleep, y'all, because I got to work the next morning too. But in terms of bringing in this new year, I can't believe that we're already done with 2025 and going into 2026. And so I was sitting there thinking about it over the last week, talking with family just about how much has happened this year. We could talk about how much has happened in news, and if you haven't already, Sarah and I produced the top 20 stories of 2025 that we've seen in terms of clicks on our website. That's been airing on and off here on 13 News Now Plus. But so there's a news part of it. But just, I think for all of us, everyone I've talked to personally, there's been so many things that have happened in 2025, especially the latter portion of the year, that it's hard for me to remember the first half of the year at times. But it's been a year, so I'm looking forward to getting to 2026. Any kind of traditions that you all have typically that you do ringing in the new year, whether it's a ball drop? I know some people put together, what are the things?
Vision boards.
Vision boards. I've never done that, but have you guys ever dabbled?
I do my resolutions kind of weird. I make them on my birthday every year.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
then I
not weird.
kind of reevaluate at New Year's a few months later to see how I'm doing, and then I kind of tweak them.
Oh, wow.
So, because I feel like it's easier for me to kind of set a goal by my age, the start of this year. That's kind of how I do it. And then New Year's is kind of the evaluation point.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
I actually really like that. How are you doing on your goals this year?
Okay. So there will be some reevaluating.
Okay.
Going into 2026. But for the most part, not bad.
Okay. That's good. I might
That's a
steal
good
that,
idea.
honestly,
That's a good
for
idea.
my next birthday. What about you, Taylor?
I forgot that I probably wrote a list of goals in my notes. I write goals, not really necessarily resolutions, because I feel like sometimes resolutions to me kind of seem a little bit superficial, especially because everybody kind of has the same ones over and over. So let's see if I can find my goals, because I write them down in my notes. Life goals 2025. When did I make this? Let's see. You can usually go back and see when things were created. Let's see. Maybe not. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I can. Here we go. I edited this on April the 4th of this year. Okay. So, or the last edit. So, I haven't even checked off some of these things I've done. Okay, so.
That's the beauty there, that there are things that you've actually done that you haven't checked off yet.
Yeah, so one of them was at least travel to one foreign country, and I traveled to 3. St. Martin, Anguilla, and then I went to Panama.
Mm.
And then traveled to at least 3 domestic cities. And I went to New Orleans, Houston, D.C., Baltimore, Atlanta. So I did that one. I was reducing my credit card debt, and I did that earlier this year.
Look at that.
That was a big one. So then I have not only like yearly goals, but then I have the next 2 to 3 years, and one of them is to boost my savings. One for the next 2 to 3 years is to become a season ticket holder for a basketball team. I would probably want to do the Hawks, and then do a solo trip to Puerto Rico. So we'll see if I can get that done maybe this year or next year.
Well, the Puerto Rico trip should be easy now that Norfolk International Airport has added a direct flight starting in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to San Juan, from ORF to San Juan, girl. That was that was announced, I think the first week of December, that starting in March, they're going to have a direct flight from here from Norfolk to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then I think Richmond also added a direct flight from Richmond to Puerto Rico. So you can take both if you don't want to be on the flight with,
Richmond also added a direct flight from Richmond to Bermuda. I saw that earlier this year, and I was like, oh, that's a good one.
All right, so we got to check that off your list. What I just found out is that for 2026, one of my goals is to be more like Sarah and Taylor.
You don't have any written down or anything?
I did, and some of them I really did actually follow through with, like my weight training goals for this year. I really kicked in on that. Financial goals, I have that every single year. I did well on that as well. So yeah, there's some really solid ones that I kept up with, and some that just kind of went by the wayside. It's funny, I don't even need to look back at them because I remember them. I remember like the top kind of 5 of them, and some of them were more personal, but traveling was in there too, and I traveled a bit this year domestically and internationally. I try to keep that up every single year. But 2026, man, I feel like there's something about it. We gotta go big for this year. I think everybody has to kind of set the bar higher because 2025 put a lot of us through the ring. Yeah. So let's get it in 2026. But Taylor, just back on the weather kick here, one last moment. I know we were looking at New Year's Eve and all of that, but today and tomorrow, if we can go back to today and tomorrow, this is where a lot of people are going to be traveling back to get into town. I know you got New Year's Eve, but there are people who are probably going to be traveling. Things should be how for them, just one more time, if they're leaving today and then tomorrow.
If you're leaving today, you will run into some rain between about 1 and 4 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
Now, good news is that this rain is really not that widespread. So you may be within like a band of a shower for maybe about 30 minutes. And then once you kind of move north, if you're moving north and west, once you head towards Richmond, you'll be completely okay. This rain is not going to be anything that is like completely a washout at all. If you're heading south, you'll probably run into a little bit more rain just because you're going to be moving with the front. So just be aware of that. But after the rainfall today, really no big concerns about any travel impacts. I was just telling those who were watching the morning show today that if you're heading out tomorrow morning, give your car an extra couple of minutes just to warm up just a bit. It's just going to be a very cold start to the day. Otherwise, no conditions, no issues when it comes to traveling to your destinations for today or tomorrow outside of the rainfall during the afternoon. You may have some rain as you're heading back. On the weekend, Saturday, I'm watching for some isolated showers, but still just showers. No big indications of any big snowfall or anything here in Hampton Roads. Can't say the same as you get into the Northeast and other places around the country, but at least for the Mid-Atlantic, it's pretty smooth sailing.
Okay, well that is good, and I brought that up because I was looking at the best travel times for people if you are heading out today, and let's see if I can pull that up for everyone real quick here. According to AAA, Sarah, I know we're looking at that now. I'm trying to get it back pulled up on my computer. If I remember correctly, as I do that, if you leave before 10 o'clock, you should be good generally.
10 p.m. Or 10 a.m.
10 a.m. if you do that. So
10 a.m. tomorrow or 10 a.m.?
I think both days. Both days. But I'll get it for you for sure here if I can get my computer situation set up. I got so many tabs pulled up at the moment, but here we go. Let's see if I can pull it real quick. I think Sarah's doing it too, but here we go. Actually, you have a little bit later time. I was looking at yesterday and Sunday. So for today and for Tuesday, if you're heading out and you're driving, the best and worst times to travel by car, according to AAA. The worst time is from noon until 8 p.m. today. So if you are listening to this or you see this on YouTube or on 13 News Now Plus, you got a little bit of time, about an hour and a half before things get really bad. And then tomorrow it's from noon until 7 p.m. But yes, I was right. If you want to get out, the best travel time is before 10 o'clock. Today and tomorrow before 10 a.m. When it comes to the 31st and for January 1st on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, you're not going to see a lot of travel. We know that. I mean, people at that point, they're either where they're going to be or they're kind of last minute trying to get there, like some of us might be because of working. But you shouldn't expect too much of an issue on those days. But today and tomorrow, between noon and 8, expect to possibly see a bit of traffic and those things as well. You're probably going to see an uptick as well coming from the airports, as we're, I think, taking a look there at Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson, down in Taylor and I's neck of the woods, our hometown there at the airport.
It's
which
pretty
we know
quiet.
It is very quiet. It looks very quiet, but you know what? Looks can be deceiving, because if you go inside anytime at Hartsfield Jackson, it can go from, well, it's never quiet.
Well, I will
don't know
say
why
it
we
was
said that.
quiet when I was there Friday morning. It was quiet.
Did you fly? Oh, I guess you flew out.
I flew out Friday
morning. So
morning,
you did have
but-
to go through TSA there.
I did, but I have clear, so I went through a whole another line.
Not
But
you.
the TSA looked fine. But I will say I got there at like 6 a.m. Once 6:30 started to come around, I was
Yeah.
like, people are starting to really fill in.
Yeah, Hartsfield Jackson is one of those airports where you have to have some kind of tricks. You have to know where to go, when to go, which TSA lines to go through. There's a hack that I don't want to give to everybody.
I was saying, I
'cause
have the
know-
same hack.
I know
I
she's
already
going
know
to get
it.
on me about this current, but
Don't
every time
spoil
I
it.
say it,
Don't say it.
that's the response I get. Sarah,
say
I'll
it.
tell you offline, where you're supposed to go.
Please don't,
for
because
those
they're
of us
going
who have
to
had
use
to
our
do it.
hack and we'll never get through TSA lines again. Don't say it.
So,
I was
so
intrigued.
For sure.
I was like,
I was like, I wonder if he knows that. I was like, but he knows that.
I know what
yeah.
the hack is. I certainly do. But you see it there, too, as Sarah has put it there in our lower thirds. About 122 million Americans were expected to travel between, I believe the timeline was last week until the 2nd, I believe, of January. And that's also looking at new records. Most of those people will be driving. An uptick of a few percentage points for those who are hitting the road. And we kind of expected that this year because of everything that happened, government shutdown, people and affordability prices are like, why don't we just go ahead and drive? People may not be traveling as far as they have in years past. We saw a lot of destination type of events as well. People who are in with certain regions, a lot of trips to Florida that we're looking at right now, people going to California, etc. And so possibly driving more, but you still got a lot of people going by air. We also saw an uptick, because you were talking about this in your route looking to get to Baltimore. A lot of more people are going by train and by bus this year than in years past. So we're seeing an uptick across the board in most categories. I don't think there's more people flying, but still a lot of people, a couple million who are going to be doing that. And so, yeah, be safe, be safe, be safe. And then, Sarah, I don't know, typically we get information sent to us, and I'll look at it, and if I can find it, I'll pull it up. But usually we get the information sent to us for people who, choose to drink for New Year's Eve, their ability to get a discount on their ride shares. So I wonder if we've gotten that already, or if they're waiting to send it out.
looks like we got it about an hour ago. Yeah.
Listen, that you speak it into existence and it will pop up. Can you tell the folks real quick, if they're listening here, Sarah, what their options are for ride share fee reductions, especially New Year's Eve? I think it's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day typically during a certain time frame.
Yes, so this is from Drive Safe Hampton Roads. They do this for not just New Year's, but they do this for, I believe, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th. They do it for a lot of different holidays. So for New Year's Eve, the 757 Sober Ride, it starts at 5 p.m. Wednesday, December 31st, and runs through 4 a.m. New Year's Day. It is in partnership with Lyft, so if you're 21 and older and you're planning on drinking and you want to take advantage of a ride share, you can get up to $15 off your ride, but you have to have the code, and they don't post that until, I believe,
Usually
right
it's like
before.
right before.
Yeah. So if that's something you're interested in, maybe just bookmark that, and then the day of, go to drivesafehr.org, and you'll be able to find the code there.
Yeah, and usually it'll give you, and within reason, based upon how far you live from wherever you are, you can get a free ride if it's relatively close. And I think sometimes that's what their response at times are. I don't know. I love reductions of any kind. Free money is free money. But sometimes I think people travel further, and so they're like, oh, I didn't pay for my full thing. Listen, it's going to give you some money off of that. The big thing is be safe. Please do not drink and drive. As normal, we're probably going to see an uptick in state troopers and various ways of like surveillance around the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day timeline from the local law enforcement, patrols. The big thing is they want to make sure that you're safe and want to make sure that you're not drinking and driving, following all of the rules of the road, and, buckle your seatbelts, all of those things. Do it all. Have fun. But we certainly on the back end don't want to report what sometimes we often have to do, and looking at the number of not just tickets but crashes. And unfortunately with that, inevitably every year there are some form of injuries and God forbid fatalities that come to. So please, we want to make sure everybody gets to and from their destinations safely. And so one more time, Sarah, where can they find that information?
This is on drivesafehr.org.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to that website, they should have a tab that says 757 Sober Ride. They won't post that code until closer to the day. I believe they post it about an hour before the ride program starts. You can get up to $15 off a Lyft ride.
Okay.
And there should be instructions on there for how to take advantage of that.
All right, cool. So if you
offer.
popping bottles,
Be safe.
be safe. All right, be safe for sure. All right, I mentioned this earlier about this time of year not just being for celebration, as we're just talking about, because a lot of people are going to be out and about and doing some great things, but also it can be a time of grief. Sarah, if we can do this, let's pull up Scan PC for me, because I have this queued up. We had the wonderful Dr. Alicia Tete, who was with us just a few days ago, and speaking about ways in which we can navigate holiday grief. Holiday blues is what a lot of people may think about it as, seasonal depression. And we know that people deal with depression, they deal with grief. Grief is not something that just stops, right? Grief can go in waves. There are days in which it can peak, and then days where it can seem low, but it's always there for many people who are grieving. And the holidays just have the ability, because of everything that's happening, the festivities, the thought that it's supposed to be a time when you're with loved ones or wherever it may be. If you're missing that loved one, it can just escalate, right? And so we had Dr. Tete come on and talk to us about ways in which you can navigate this, some of the tips and strategies, and then also reminding people that you are not alone. Like, there are so many others who are just like you, trying to make their way through the holidays, and that's okay. And some tips and some resources for you too. So we're going to play that for folks, and hopefully this can be of help for you if you were not able to catch it. And we'll come back on the back end. And of course, if anything breaks in the moment, we'll bring you the latest. We'll stop this and get to it. But right now, we'll listen to the doctor on ways in which you can navigate holiday blues. Live Impact News here on 13 News Now Plus. My name is Eugene Daniel here in our 13 News Now streaming studio. And it is the holiday season, which of course comes with so many things, with travel, and we're going to get into all of that also with your forecast too. But it's also a time where a lot of people, it is not the most wonderful time of the year. A lot of people deal with seasonal depression and grief during this time as well. And so joining us today to talk about that, we have Dr. Alicia Tete, who is an assistant professor at Norfolk State University. She's also a therapist and founder of Building Endurance, which is a mental health services group in Norfolk. Thank you so much for being here today. Looking forward to this conversation because a lot of people are dealing with this during this time of the year, and we know throughout the entirety of the year. I guess that's my first question to you is, What makes it so common around the holiday season?
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me. Glad to be here. I am a huge champion and an advocate of us understanding that mental health is something that impacts all of us, no matter the race or the age or the shade. And because depression is directly linked to the sun provides vitamin D. Whenever we have less sun, people are have the opportunity to be impacted or affected by depression. You add in genetics, right? Because depression is also genetic. So if you have it in your family, then you can experience it as well. So it is very common for this time of the year for folks to feel lower energy and sadder, and it has everything to do with the weather. You mentioned grief. This is also just, it could be a difficult time for families who are experiencing grief. So like you mentioned, I like that line, it's not the jolliest time of the year for all of us, but I just want to normalize that any of us can be affected and feel sad during this time, and also be grieving a variety of things during this time as well.
You know, it's so interesting you were talking about how much the sun and everything plays a part into it as well. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, getting
Yes.
quality sunlight can really have a huge effect. In that kind of light, not to make a play on words, it's just the first thing that came in mind. What would you suggest to people in how they can kind of, you know, embrace and get through this particular season?
Absolutely. I always approach with my clients, we need to just check our foundation, right? And at the foundation, we all need sleep, so good quality rest. We all need to eat. We need to eat more than once a day. We all need water. We all need sunlight, and we all need movement. And so even though it's cold out, it's nice sometimes to kind of bundle up and go for a walk. But moving our bodies is also going to help fight against those feelings of sadness, as well as feelings of anxiety.
And, you know, we're talking about, you know, the movement and all those things, and that's maybe stuff that someone who may be experiencing that, what they can do. What about friends, family, loved ones? If you spot someone, first, I guess we can start with, what are the signs that someone may be experiencing seasonal depression or, you know, an abundance of grief?
Absolutely. I always encourage clients, just like I stated before, the same things that help, those same baseline behaviors are also indicators that something may be going on. So if you find yourself using substances more often or needing substances to do things, that's a sign. If you find yourself crying without being provoked, that's a sign. Very low motivation. So you go days where you're not getting up to go to work, you're not getting up to go to school. That's a sign that we want to look out for in a friend. Also, if they are expressing like, I don't feel like being here. So we really want to hear and listen to the folks in our lives. And I'm not charging all of you to be therapists, but something that you can do as a friend is listen. Honestly, sometimes people just need you to be present and be there and let folks know, I have your back.
So in that kind of, you know, vein, when is it important for us to maybe see medical help, to see a professional, a therapist? I imagine some of what you just said will kind of be the cue to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Paying attention to what are your normal baseline behaviors, and then when are you off your game? So for example, if you find yourself eating more or less than what you usually do, sleeping more or less than what you usually do, relying on substances like I mentioned before, knowing that I'm not feeling like myself and my routine has changed, that's usually an indicator that it may be time to call a friend or even reach out to a professional.
So when you are making that list, I know I talk to people and I've encouraged, I mean, I'm a huge supporter in therapy myself. And sometimes I'll, you know, recommend it for my friends. I've recommended it to family members, and they
Absolutely.
will often say, I should say, oh, well, you know, I don't want to do that because X, Y, and Z. I don't want people to think. I don't want people to think something's wrong with me. Can you kind of coach those who may be trying to encourage a loved one or someone to seek therapy, how to approach that conversation? Because I know how much it's changed my life, and sometimes it feels like it's tough to get people over that hump to do so.
Absolutely. First, just validating and normalize. It is scary to do a new thing. So sometimes trying something new like therapy can seem scary. But also you want to normalize and validate that like something is going on with all of us. We all are having a variety of experiences, whether it has to do with children or just life or impacted by the government. And so I think it's also important to normalize that we all have mental health, like that is something we all possess, and that sometimes we need some professional support. I also honor people in spaces who are not ready. I honor that as well, and I think there are other ways that you can get community support, and so I really want to emphasize community care as well. We should all be in community with someone, whether that is church affiliated or affiliated with your job, or you have your friend group or your book club. But even if you're not ready for professional support, we should be in community and be supporting each other in that way together.
So you have a group, you call it Building Endurance. What do you all specialize in?
Yeah, so we provide a couple of services. So outpatient therapy to individuals, couples, families, and organizations. Couples therapy for premarital counseling as well as post. We provide trainings to organizations, so training nonprofit and for-profit organizations around mental health topics. And then lastly, I provide clinical supervision to therapists who are provisionally licensed. So they're fresh out of school and they need the supervisory hours.
When you're talking with people and you're having these conversations, what are some of the misconceptions you think people have surrounding any of this, either it's seasonal depression or grief? What are some of the misconceptions people typically have?
The stigma. No one wants to be viewed as crazy, and that's a word that I don't even really use. But I think a lot of people are worried about what other people will say if they know. And I think taking care of yourself, number one, is your business. But number two, the more we talk about it, the more we can fight that misconception. I think people too often think that therapy is only for wealthy and rich people. That also is not true. There are organizations and insurance options and work options where you can get therapy at a low or discounted rate. So I think the cost. And I think maybe the third one is if I go and somebody finds out there's something wrong with me, does that mean other people around me will not want to be in relationship with me anymore? And that's also just a myth. The more we work on bettering ourselves, we only then strengthen the relationships with other people that we have around us.
I think I think you hit it on the head for some of my loved ones who have really been struggling in that space. So I'm so glad that you're here to have this conversation with us. If somebody may not have the resources, they don't think they have the resources to therapy. Can you kind of hit on again? There are a lot of different spaces that they can still get access to care.
Absolutely. One site I often refer people to is OpenPath because they offer services for low and reduced rate. Calling the number on the back of your insurance card, letting your insurance know this is what I'm looking for. A lot of insurance plans already have that included, especially something called EAP, which stands for Employee Assistance Program, and that's where you will get a certain number of sessions for free, and they'll connect you to a clinician. Therapy for Black girls is another one that's really big. Psychology Today, goodtherapy.org. So any of those are options that you can reach out to. And again, some of them offer it at free and low cost options.
You mentioned some of the things to do if you're a loved one approaching someone in this space. What are some of the don'ts? What are some of the things you're like, hey, listen, let's not go about it that way?
Yeah. A big no-no, especially if someone is expressing that they want to harm themselves, is saying, no, you don't. You don't feel that way. So that is really invalidating to people. So if someone comes to you, you want to, again, listen and validate how they feel. So I think the biggest no-no is telling someone that they don't really feel the way that they do, right? The other one is kind of downplaying it. Well, you have this going on and that going on. Well, how could you feel that way? And I often use celebrities like Robin Williams and Twitch and who we recognize they had all the money and the fame and still they were impacted by mental health. And so that just goes to show you that just because people have things, that doesn't mean that they won't feel differently internally.
Okay, I'm so glad that you brought that up. Can you touch on that more? Because I think sometimes people do think just because someone appears to be happy, that there's nothing, that they could be dealing with. But man, it is so hard as a friend or someone else to be able to reach people when you can't see anything. How do you deal with that? How do you show up for people in that way when you just don't know?
Yeah, there's this slogan called "Check on the Strong Friend," and so I want to remind you all that just because someone appears outwardly okay, a lot of people are hiding behind a mask, and that mask is the smile, that laugh is the joking all the time, and the happy all the time, right? And so I live by the mantra of I check in on all of my people, regardless if they seem like something is going okay or if they seem like not, right? So I think again, going back to community care and relationship, we should be checking in with each other regularly, right? And we'll be able to catch those things as opposed to, well, they seem fine, so I'll call them next week. I'll call them next week. If you're thinking about somebody, reach out to them in that moment.
Yeah, and it doesn't, the tips that was given to me a long time, I used to feel like, oh, I don't have time because when I reach out, I need at least 30 to an hour, to be able to talk to someone. And I had a really good friend say, hey, I don't need you to be on the phone with me for 30 minutes every time. It could be a text message. It can be a call. And I'm sure, it kind of sounds like you agree with that too. Like it doesn't have to be this big amount of time.
No, and you don't have to overextend. It can just be, like I said, you're thinking about them, shoot them a text. Hey, just thinking about you. Send them a voice memo. I was watching this show, made me think of you. I hope all is well. And you never know how that small check-in can go a very long way with people.
Do you ever run into people who might feel, maybe guilty on their part because maybe they don't feel like this, but they know someone around them may, and how would you maybe help them? I know I'm throwing out, different scenarios.
You are. You hit me left and right.
There's so, but it does affect people differently.
It
right?
does.
And you'll have, sometimes people who feel like, well, I can't really be, happy because I don't think this person is happy. So,
okay.
So how do you maybe navigate those waters if that is you?
Yeah. So, for example, if you are in a healthy and flourishing relationship and a friend just had a breakup, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're in your relationship, your friend had a breakup. I think that it is helpful to ask the friend what is okay and what is not okay, right? So I know you just had the breakup. Let me know if I'm talking about such and such too much. Or let me know if you would rather us do something that's not going to touch on couples or relationships. And so I want to emphasize we have to communicate with each other. We got to ask. We don't have to guess what's going on with the people in our lives. Sometimes a lot will be revealed to us if we just say, what do you need and how can I best support you? So those are two of my favorite statements. How can I support you? And what do you need from me during this time? And then allowing people to say, you know what? I don't want to talk about guys right now, or I don't want to talk about this right now. Or they may say, I actually have a lot to say. Can you listen for a second? But I think taking the guesswork and the anxiety out for us and just asking folks, what do you need? Yeah,
and then, doing it on their terms. I think that's what I'm kind of hearing from you, giving them the ability to kind of dictate the terms of how you're going to communicate. Great stuff here. Anything we have not hit on when it comes to, navigating seasonal depression and grief around this time of year that you're like, I really want people to hear this?
The last thing I'll say is make those doctor's appointments. I know that for some of us, we have a long history of mistrust with medical professions, but we have to get to the doctor so that there's early detection around things that are important. I am meeting more and more people who are being impacted by fertility issues and issues related to cancer, and I can't emphasize enough prevention over intervention. So make sure that you are getting your annual checkups, that you're getting to the dentist, that you're doing these things. So if there is something going on, it can be caught early.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. We got Dr. Alicia Tate, who is here, the founder of Building Endurance, giving us some really helpful tips. And I hope that this reaches somebody, because what you were telling people, there are so many folks who are dealing with this around this time of year. And I know we talked right before we went on, and one of the things I wanted to make sure people knew is that they are not alone.
Absolutely.
You're not alone no matter what the circumstances are. And again, there is help available. Could you again just share
some of those resources? Absolutely.
And then also how people can get in contact with you guys too.
Yes. So Psychology Today, Therapy for Black Girls, goodtherapy.org, calling the 1-800 number on the back of your insurance card. Open Path Collective is another good one, and the Loveland Foundation is another one, good one as well. I can be reached at www.buildingendurancepllc.com. Would love to work with you. Would love to come out to your organization. And again, we all deserve good things. It's something that I live by, and so if there is something going on with you, please don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help.
Thank you so much for coming in. And please, if you need that help or you know a friend who may need so, please share that information with them. You do not want to go through this holiday season without having those resources by your side. So again, thank you. And then happy holidays to you too.
Yes.
And for whatever you got planned, I hope it is phenomenal. We appreciate you very much.
All right.
Some really great tips there, I thought, from the doctor that people can kind of glean from and take with them. Again, this time of year, it is okay. You are not alone if you're battling, or battling maybe sounds like even the wrong word, but if you're experiencing grief and those highs and lows of seasonal depression, you are not alone. There are resources available. There are people available, making sure that you have everything at your fingertips to kind of get through this particular season. And so you just heard there from Dr. Tete, and we're so thankful that she could come on and share some tips for folks that those resources are out there. So hopefully you grab hold of some of that. You can take that with you. If you are writing down right now, trying to figure out what she was saying, you weren't able to, we do have that interview on our website, 13newsnow.com, where you can watch that over and write down the information that you might need. So hopefully you can do that, and it helps some people this holiday. Sarah, it's one of those things, inevitably, as I grow up and grow older, I realize how many people are impacted this time of year through grief. And unless you experience it, or you maybe know someone closely who is experiencing grief and seasonal depression, you don't really, you're not always aware to it. And it can be difficult to know, how do you approach that conversation if you think that you're doing the right thing, but maybe that's not what they need. And so I was appreciative of her saying, give people the opportunity to share how they would like to be approached and communicated with, and what they might need, as opposed to assuming and trying to go into action. And Sarah, I don't know if you or someone close to you who also experiences, the holiday blues too, but there's so many people who are dealing with it right now.
Yeah, I know, especially like if you are used to celebrating a holiday with like your grandparents.
Yeah.
And if you lose that grandparent earlier in the year around that time, I know that's very difficult for people that I know.
Yeah.
It can be a tough time, but the holidays are about bringing people together and lifting each other up.
I know. It's a great opportunity to do that too. And I was sitting here thinking, I have a family that I consider family. We're not related, but they kind of adopted me when I lived in the Midwest. And, again, grief is something that doesn't necessarily go away, but we're talking about it here with the holidays. It can peak. And for them and for us, their son, who I consider a god brother, passed away around this time of year, and, more than a decade ago. And so this time is always difficult because of the holidays, but it was his the anniversary of his passing. And, we really struggle during this time of year with that. And one thing that the family and we did is we formed a nonprofit. He'd passed away of a blood clot. And, we now educate people on blood clot disorders, because so many people don't know the signs of blood clots. And, that's how we were able to kind of, people say, turn pain into purpose, pain into passion. And that's something that I'm big on, they are big on. And even with all of that, this time of year, it's still difficult. So again, we want to reach out and share those resources, but also our hearts go out to everybody who is experiencing some type of grief right now. Sarah, let's take News One Channel 2. Why not? Why not? Okay, it's in the spirit of New Year's Eve, and there we have it right there, a live look as the celebrations are being set up already here. There in Times Square in New York City, Manhattan to be exact. You can see people are out there waiting to test the ball drop there. Obviously, it's a huge part of a lot of people's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day celebrations and their own kind of tradition. And I do believe this year, Sarah, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first year of a new ball that was created. Let me see if I can remember that exactly. But I do believe that there is a new ball being dropped. They added, I think, more glitz and glamour to it. If I can, fairly sure I'm not making that up.
I do know that it is red, white, and blue this year because 2026 marks 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So the theme, I think, for the ball this year is very patriotic, just to pay tribute to that anniversary.
Yes, indeed. There's so much this year that we're going to see with 2026 for that anniversary as well. So red, white, and blue. Okay, yeah. So you're talking about the confetti is going to be red, white, and blue. Seeing that too. The organization America 250 that's really been kind of spearheading all of this is partnering with the group that puts on the ball drop this year because of exactly what Sarah just said. So it is going to be a memorable year, definitely special with that special confetti. The kickoff is obviously coming at midnight, which is always special. I've never actually gone to the ball drop in New York City. When I lived there for a little bit for an internship, I came right after, like a week and a half in January afterwards. And looking back on it, I was in college at the time. I kind of wish I would have gone early so that I could see the ball drop and then start my internship for the next 6 months. I always consider that a missed opportunity.
I think when I was younger, I really wanted to experience New Year's Eve in Times Square, but now that I'm older, I have no desire. Like, you're just standing for hours at a time. It's cold. I'm perfectly okay. Like, I think it's a cool thing if you are already going to be in New York.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't know if I could do it.
Sarah's like, just put me on the couch with some hot cocoa or whatever you drink at that time, and let me watch it from the comfort of the home that I just bought.
Yes. Yeah, like I think when I was younger, I was like, oh, that would be a cool bucket list thing, like to cross off and say that I did it. But I mean, if it was a cold year, you're in like a huge crowd of people.
Yeah.
What if you have to go to the bathroom?
I don't know what they do. I mean, I imagine they have like, porta potties in the area so that you have a way to get out. But that's a really good point. And one thing I would say, you're right. I'm right in line with you. For me, I don't like being in the midst of crowds, just in general. If I go to a concert or a sporting event, that's one thing maybe. I mean, nowadays, even sporting events, I'm looking at my ticket. I'm trying to see where I'm placed. Can I easily get out and move around, just all that kind of stuff. But I don't like being in the midst of crowds where I can't just go where I want to go. You know what I mean? But you're right. When I was younger, put me in the middle of it. Now I'm much more comfortable in front of crowds than I am in crowds.
In the crowd, yeah.
In the crowd. I'm like, man, I can't go where I want to go. I got to move through everybody, all that kind of stuff. Beforehand, man, I was like, man, put me in this club. Yeah, this place is lit. We packed side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Now that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare. Some other things for folks who are going to be watching or might be present. Who knows? We might have some people traveling from Hampton Roads up to New York City. It's not that far of a drive or flight if you want to do that. The Times Square Ball will feature special designs, and it will have a finale with a pyro display set to a rendition of America the Beautiful by the late Ray Charles. So it's going to be really, really, really special this year. And as Sarah just said, this year there will be a second ball drop, but that is going to be on July 3rd of this upcoming year. And as Sarah had mentioned, that's in honor of Independence Day, with it being the major anniversary, 250th this year. So there is going to be another ball drop on July 3rd, which it's interesting. I mean, I think it's cool, but I wonder if we could have done something differently than another ball drop. I wonder if there's something else, but I don't know what you would do to signify that. But I wonder how many people are going to actually head out there for 4th of July weekend to do that. That'll be interesting, to look at that. So I just wanted to pull that up. As you can see, they already have the decorations up, and just coming from that area, New York, New Jersey, myself, just yesterday, I can't tell you, some of those coats you're seeing are warranted. I mean, there was so much ice and snow in the area as people in New York and New Jersey were hit over the last few days. Obviously, they are accustomed to that, used to that, but it did impact a lot of people's ability to move about and returns, for holiday returns. I know that I went to a mall in New Jersey. I was there, and by the time that I walked in and I came out, Sarah, it went from being dry to me coming out in my car. I mean, I was probably in there a few hours, but I came out and there was ice on the ground. My car was iced, the windshields, all that kind of stuff. So it happened fairly quickly in certain portions for people out there. And I know that delayed people getting out and about. But they are certainly bundled up for some of them, but maybe it's a little bit better, just a little bit wet. As you can see, they have on their ponchos and those things at the moment.
I wonder what the weather's like for New York City on New Year's Eve. Hold on, I'm going to look that up. I'm just curious.
Look it up. Even more reason for, you and I to do this from the comfort of our homes.
Oh. It looks like there might be a chance for snow. Light snow.
Okay.
Huh.
Well, you can see, judging from all of their attire right now, I mean, obviously not the top hats, but, they're bundled up. They have on, there was a lot of ponchos, so it's wet. So I think that was my biggest fear when I drove back, was whether or not the roads would ice up. And so it actually delayed me coming back a day because of that exact reason. So for them, there's nothing worse to me. You could give me snow. I don't want it to be cold and rainy. To me, there's nothing worse than to be outside and it's cold. And matter of fact, cold, rainy with wind. There you go. That's the only combination that I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good on that. But we just got a release here, Sarah, and I want to read to it because we're talking about what it's like there in New York City. And are they going to make some kind of announcement? Is that why they're setting up? Or are they just taking here? They're just testing it.
They're testing. They've been testing the ball drop. This might be the confetti drop.
I think that's what they're doing. They're about to test the confetti drop.
Yeah.
We can hold that up, but let's see if we can do this, though, because the next thing that I'm talking about is we were talking about it being wet, rainy, all those kind of things. Don't love that. But you know what we do love? We like cruises, because cruises don't go to places like that. Cruises go to places where it is warm and sunny. And we just got a release from here out of Norfolk from Nauticus, saying that they had a record-breaking year for Norfolk when it came to the number of people who traveled and were passengers on cruises this year. This release just coming in at 10:55. I'll read some of it for you, which is a big thing for Nauticus here. Said that Norfolk celebrated a landmark year on Saturday as the Carnival Sunshine left for another cruise to the Bahamas. We showed you that actually last week when they were preparing to leave. Said each week since February, Nauticus has welcomed this ship and they've gone to and from with about 7,000 cruise passengers a week. So in total, they summed it all up. Nauticus welcomed 338,959 passengers in 2025, which broke their initial projections by nearly 40,000 guests. So a huge jump beyond what they expected in this year. And that included in 2025, 47 total ship calls from Carnival Cruise Line, 15 additional port of call visits from other major cruise lines, and nearly 100,000 crew members also visited Norfolk. And, that's huge when you think about the local economy here in the city and in the region. And this, we're talking about the reason why this is significant, not only because it pushed beyond their projections, but also because, remember earlier this fall, officials announced that the Carnival Sunshine will be replaced by weekly sailings from Carnival Freedom in 2027. And then the same year, 2027, they're going to have the world's third largest cruise company, Norwegian Cruise Line. They're planning 20 port of call visits. So they're going to have 20 outgoing, ingoing passenger trips that come in, including approximately 49,000 additional passengers to the Hampton Roads region. That is huge for the city of Norfolk. Considering that the Carnival Sunshine is going to be coming back in 2026 with its sailing starting on January 4th. And so that's big. I haven't taken a cruise yet from the city of Norfolk, but I've been thinking about doing that. I know others who have done that many times, several times. We've got some people here at 13 News Now who are committed cruisers. Is that what we'd call them? The cruisers.
Cruisers sounds right.
Yeah, right. You're a cruiser. I don't know. You put that in a car, but big news for them. Big news. A record-breaking year for Nauticus in the city of Norfolk when it came to their passengers on cruises.
Yeah.
340,000. 40,000 more than what they normally do. All right. So again, those are for those who are going to warm places. If you're going to New York City, it's not warm there, but you could have a lot of fun. Let's see if we can dial in and see what they're doing as they are preparing for the big drop.
Fingers, are you guys ready? Okay. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Oh my golly! Look at that confetti go! How we doing? Oh my God, but I gotta tell you, we need a little more wind. Where's that wind? Oh my, yes, we need a tornado of confetti. More confetti! Woo! There we go. Times Square is looking brighter. This is a great day to test confetti because we got the wet, we got the rain, we're fighting the elements, and yet still we got all that colorful confetti in the sky. We are blanketing Times Square. Let's do it one more time. Let's let it settle down. We're going to try again. I can see we're headed uptown. We need to get a little confetti downtown. You guys need confetti down there. Yeah. Okay, we got little confetti in the face. Do you know when we first started dropping confetti in Times Square, people were concerned. Are we ready? No, we're doing, you guys need, we need one more there, then we're coming to you. One more over here, we're coming to you guys. Don't leave. Are we ready? Yeah, we're ready. You guys ready? Count with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Oh, no clumping of confetti. It is spreading out nicely. It's looking good. Oh, wow. It is really nice. We need to get a little more height. We need taller people. Oh, my golly. Look at it go. When we first started dropping confetti, our confetti is square-shaped in Times Square because it's Times Square. They're 2 inches by 2 inches. People were concerned that the squares could hurt people because of the sharp corners on the paper confetti. I'm happy to say we've never had a confetti injury. Okay, here we go. We're going to do it one more time. Are you guys good or do you need it again? Really, again? Oh my. I think they're getting a little bit confetti hungry here. Okay, one more time here, then we're going over there. Ready? Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Holy cow, look at that confetti go! I have to say that confetti just likes to go uptown. Oh my golly. This is why we have over nearly 3 tons. Okay, I think that looked really good. Oh, they're already leaving. They're coming to join you because the fun is headed here. Can you help me out over here? Oh, thank you, Kat. Okay, good. I don't know if you guys know, but starting at 6 p.m. when we light and raise that ball, we've got 6 hours of entertainment for you here in Times Square, starting with Jen O'Hagan singing the Star-Spangled Banner. We work with her every day here in Times Square. Times Square makes this place run 365 days a year, including New Year's Eve. And then we've got all kinds of acts and celebrations, including, oh my golly. Oh, we're ready? Right here, line on up. We've got Tones and I singing Dance Monkey on New Year's Eve and Imagine at Midnight. Diana Ross, Maren Morris, Little Big Town, Les Seraphim. We've got a whole eclectic mix. Javi is going to be here, Anna Barbara. It's going to be an amazing night. I hope you guys will come back. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I'm ready. You ready? You guys ready? Guys, you ready?
Oh my golly. Oh my golly. For those who are joining us again, thank you so much for live Impact News here on 13 News Now Plus. Also on YouTube, if you're watching us there, remember you can always download the app 13 News Now Plus for your TV. You can find us for free on Roku and Amazon Fire as well. And we listen, today is a little bit different than even our normal flow because it is the holidays. Not a whole lot is happening currently. You know, a lot of our lawmakers are on break. We have a lot of the events and things in which that typically would happen. It's the holiday season, so things have died down. But if you've normally watched us, you know that things can happen immediately at the drop of a dime at any point, not just here in our area of Hampton Roads, Virginia, but also across the country. And we'll bring you stories, not even just here in America, but at times we'll have live feeds and things in which pertaining to international situations, and we'll be there too. But you know, it's interesting and cool to have a day in which we can look at something that's a little bit more festive, as we see there the testing for the New Year's Eve ball drop there in New York City. Oh my golly, that's going to be a new one for me, Sarah. I'm going to be saying that a lot now, so prepare to be sick of me. But he seems like he has a lot of joy, and it certainly comes out in his voice and in his energy there too, as they are breaking down after the setup in the moment. So cool stuff there. Again, that's for New Year's Eve celebrations that will be taking place in a few days for folks who are traveling up to New York City. And we do have some celebrations that are happening here in Hampton as well. I know our traffic anchor, Marta Berglund, we heard meteorologist Taylor Stephenson talk about during her forecast briefing. Marta will be a part of one that's going to be here in our area. I do believe she's taking part in the one that's in Virginia Beach, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be on New Year's Eve. And so Marta's going to be out there, and she's a great time if you've never been around her in her natural habitat. Marta's great, so looking forward to that and her being able to bring in the new year with people in the community. So yes, as we kind of talk about just a few other things that are going on, I've been getting some new releases coming in with some data that we're just getting. I'm going to try to get that into that in a bit. But later today, we are expecting to see the moments in which Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be meeting with President Donald Trump today. The two are expected to meet in Florida. As you see there, as that's a live look of both the White House in Washington, D.C., and Mar-a-Lago there in Florida, where the two leaders are expected to meet. This is as the ceasefire in Gaza is broadly holding at the moment, according to ABC News, despite there being clashes that have kind of happened in a sporadic space between the Israel Defense Forces and militants there in Gaza, and on top of deadly IDF strikes that have taken place too. So, it right now, the two of them meeting at the moment is of importance. The ceasefire still, though, was only in the first of three phases that were proposed, and the second phase of the agreement has yet to be agreed to, as the remains of one deceased hostage are still thought to be in Gaza at the time, as of reporting this morning. Again, those Israeli strikes are also ongoing, not only there, but against alleged Hezbollah targets in southern and eastern Lebanon. So there's a lot to talk about between Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. And maybe we'll get a better insight into what the two could be discussing and what is exactly discussed during this trip to Mar-a-Lago here today. Again, as you're taking a live look at the Capitol, where that meeting will not be taking place, in Mar-a-Lago, where it will be set to take place. I'm trying to get the exact time span. I do believe the meeting is supposed to be taking place between the 1 to 3 stream hour. And so for those who are wanting to see the moments in which the two come up, I do believe it's scheduled for 1 o'clock, but it can be whether or not it's on time. There's a lot that goes into that, but the two are scheduled to meet around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And again, expected to focus on advancing this 20-point peace plan for Gaza, with that October ceasefire being the first of 3 planned stages. So a big meeting here today as we take a look here. This is, I believe, yes, we're looking at video of the two leaders in the past, during past visits and trips that they have had, and discussions that they have had over the years. And, a lot weighs between what they could discuss, especially as we're talking about a meeting that's happening at this time. We are in the holidays, but these two are still going to meet. So it talks to the importance of the matter. And, we've had times in which they have met and we haven't been able to really know what's happening behind closed doors. And then we'll have moments where you'll have something of this nature. They'll come out and they'll speak in front of reporters. Not quite sure exactly what the format is going to be of this meeting, particularly since it's happening at Mar-a-Lago. But hopefully we'll be able to get some information come this afternoon about the two and what is discussed. So that we know just how productive, if at all, that meeting will be. So that is the latest out of that effort. So again, that should be happening around 1 o'clock, and I do believe we'll have some form of live feed that'll be set there, just like this one is, probably there around 1 o'clock today. Something else that I just got here that I want to get into, and just switching gears. This is in North Carolina. There's a new poll that just came out here within the last few days. This is from Elon University, the Elon University poll. When it came to North Carolinians and how they feel about education in their state. If you were in North Carolina and you're watching this, how do you feel about the state of K through 12 schools in the Tar Heel State? According to this latest poll from Elon University, North Carolinians are giving K through 12 schools low grades as the federal government begins to move more control of education to the states. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a new statewide survey that Elon University poll put out that found that many people in North Carolina are giving those low marks to the quality of public schools and largely attributing their impressions to factors that are beyond the control of teachers in the classroom. So they're not blaming the teachers for this. A majority of survey respondents said they blame school performance on elected leaders at both the state and local levels. And the poll found that people in the state believe that North Carolina schools are underfunded, even while many people have expressed confusion about the way public education is structured. Now, for a dating timeline, this poll followed President Trump's executive order to return authority over education to the state and local communities. And in that order, it also said to enable parents, teachers, and communities to best ensure student success. Okay, so on November 18th, the U.S. Department of Education then announced plans to transfer education programs to 6 other federal agencies, with K-12 programs moved to the Department of Labor. We talked about this on our stream when that took place. We talked about it on air on 13 News Now as well. And so that is what sparked this poll. That is not only through Elon University, its poll, but it also partnered with the School of Education there at Elon University. They are 2 entities, I should say. By the way, I'm a graduate of Elon University, so that's kind of how I know how that kind of all works out. This poll, before I get into some of the data, more specifically, was from November 19th to December 1st. Included 800 adults in the state, and they say has a margin of error about plus or minus 4.2. I know that's in the weeds, but we always get people who ask how many people were talked to about this, and then also what the margin in error is. So I wanted to give that out for those who might ask in the future. So here's the views on school quality. When asked to assign letter grades to K-12 schools, those polled in North Carolina gave mediocre marks, with the lowest grades for traditional public schools and a significant share who were unsure what grades to assign to charter schools, homeschools, and private schools. So here we are. 50% gave schools a grades of C, D, or F for traditional public schools. Charter schools, 28%. Homeschools, 27%, and private schools, 20%. The percent of those who gave a grade of 8 and B gave 51% to private schools. So private schools did well amongst polling. Charter schools, 41%. Homeschools, 40%. And then traditional public schools, 36% gave a grade of A and B, the lowest of the entire marking there. Just under half, 48% of parents and guardians of children under the 18 gave their local schools an A or B, while 44% of those who are not parents or guardians gave an A or B grade, which I find interesting there, because for those who are assessing local schools without having children in the local schools, I assume they're not teachers in the local schools. For them to give a 44% grade lower than those who actually have children in the schools, I wonder how they even reach that conclusion if they have no direct connection to the schools. I would like to see more into that, because I think that kind of looks into how people are being told, about performance. But I found that interesting. About 3/4 of people in North Carolina say that they put the most blame for poor performing public schools in their area on state government and on local school boards. School principals and parents also got somewhat of a less blame. And you can see their teachers get the least blame there. So looking at the numbers there, for those who say a lot or some blame for poor performing schools, state government, you see that number there? 77% is which people who were polled said that they placed most of it on them, and then local school boards the same at 77%. And I imagine a lot of that has to do with funding. When we look at state governments, they are the ones who are responsible for funding for schools and working with how much money can be, distributed. And then local school boards, obviously, they set their budgets. But I wonder if that is why a lot of people are placing it there. And then obviously we've had a lot of things when it comes to, the thought process on what should be taught in schools. The last several years, we've had a lot of conversations and pretty much battles in school districts on what books should be read and available and who should be able to teach. I know we've experienced a lot of that in Virginia, what they should be able to teach, I should say, in terms of history. And there's been a lot of back and forth there. Principals get 67, parents 64, teachers 57%. Now, I wanted to bring this up here. Dr. Jason Husser, who is the director of the Elon University poll, gave some responses and in looking at some of this. And he was quoted here saying that they found clear evidence that people in North Carolina want to see more effective governance of K-12 schools. A large majority thought state government bears some of the blame when schools underperform. Only 26% said that public school funding in North Carolina is distributed fairly among counties, with 48% saying that funding is distributed unfairly, 26 saying not sure. But here is something that it looks like a lot of people could agree on. If you see that line there that they have in bold on the website, but not quite in what we got here directly from them. When it comes to people who believe poverty, safety, or family stability are major factors in school underperformance, you see that number there? 94% said that it was a factor. Now, I find that interesting because maybe last week or the week prior, we had Jeremiah Beatty, one of our reporters, come in, and she was talking about a new program in one of our local cities here in Hampton Roads, and a statewide poll out of the Commonwealth of Virginia actually is what it was talking about. It was a statewide poll in the Commonwealth of Virginia that showed that students' direct access to food showed an improvement in their education and in their academic success, which, for us, it seems like a no-brainer. But over the course of the last few years, there's been a coordinated effort because they also were finding that there were more students since the pandemic who weren't coming to school. And so throughout the state, there have been programs that are literally been addressing truancy and, of course, academic performance based upon that. And one of the things that she got on here and said was a big factor that helped was making sure that all kids could have food. Then they were coming to school because they could eat. And then when they were eating, they were performing better. And so I'm not surprised to see 94% say that those factors play a role. The issue is what it looks like from those in North Carolina. They do not believe that the funding matches the need there within the state to address those issues. And you can just look there for yourself at some of the percentages for the most common factors for school underperformance that they had. You can see there across the board, what they're blaming. Fewer people, about a quarter, say that poorly prepared teachers are amongst the issues, but really they're saying not enough money and resources. Parental involvement, a lack of that, they're saying a lot of that is in there. And then after that, there's a big drop off when it comes to a lot of things. So I wanted to bring that up because I thought that it was interesting, some of the numbers, and there's much more into it. If you want to find that poll, you can find it on Elon University's website. Just search Elon poll and it should pop up. If you are in North Carolina and you're curious about this and the way in which they go about their process, that is available for all to see. But I certainly thought that was something to bring up as students are out of school for right now, but not a lot of people happy there, Sarah, when it came to education. Anything pop out to you based upon that? I know there's so much of it we didn't get into, but anything pop out to you of that particular poll?
Well, I think a lot of the things on the list go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised. What did surprise me is because I feel like sometimes teachers get a lot of the blame.
Yeah.
And this poll actually had them at the bottom. I guess it was kind of nice to see that they were not taking a lot of the blame. It mostly went on state government and local school boards.
Yeah, I felt
that was surprising to me.
Yeah, I feel the same about that. Because our teachers, they do so much. And, you know, when it comes to careers that are meaningful, I mean, everybody can point to a teacher, hopefully can point to a teacher that changed their life. I know I have several throughout my public education growing up and then in college too. And sometimes it can be a thankless job that doesn't get the pay in a lot of states that are deserving. I mean, you can raise the pay even more. I know a lot of states have done that, and a lot of counties and communities have done that, including here in Hampton Roads. And I would argue it's still not enough, you know what I mean, just for the amount of work that they put in. And they actually did get into the money for them as well. There's a section here that gets in. It says, North Carolinians tend to underestimate how much public K through 12 teachers are paid. Compared with the national average teacher salary of $72,000, that's according to the National Education Association's annual report, North Carolina teachers earn just over $58,000 a year. However, the average guess by respondents in the survey was that the average North Carolina teacher is paid $42,000 a year, which was $16,000 lower than the actual average. The average entry-level teacher in the state does get paid around $42,000. So they were right for the average entry level when they guessed, but not for the actual average for educators in North Carolina. But to see that there's a $14,000 difference between the national average and for teachers in North Carolina is certainly, I think, why a lot of people are concerned with the funding issue there in the state. You know, when you look at that number, again, if you're a teacher in either of our communities here in Virginia or North Carolina, thank you so much for what you do. But you might see this poll and also have some thoughts of your own. And maybe we can get someone from the Elon University poll who can come on at some point and talk about this. A large majority of the survey, 71%, said public school teachers in North Carolina are paid too little. Just under half said that they get a great amount or fair amount of public respect. And 41% said that teachers get not much or no respect. So it sounds like people feel the same way that we felt when it came to how teachers, the conversation sometimes that can get around it, that they don't always get. Not saying this is coming from the district or from the divisions, but just in general. I think we don't talk about our teachers enough in the work that they do to make sure that they appreciate it. And certainly people in North Carolina feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and did you know?
What?
I almost went into teaching.
I didn't know that, but I am not surprised. So, what age group would you have taught, and then how close were you to becoming a teacher? I should ask.
I did secondary education, so that's like middle and high school.
Okay.
I went in, so I did like the Virginia Teachers for Tomorrow program in high school, which I don't know if it's a statewide thing, but it's basically they prepare you. You are a TA for a year for a classroom. I did it in Virginia Beach. And so I had a 7th grade class. And for, I think a year. And then when I went into college, I was torn on if I wanted to do broadcast journalism or teaching. And so they set it up so that after my first year, I could kind of decide without being behind.
Uh-huh.
And I ultimately decided that journalism was probably a better fit for me.
Okay.
But I did do some teaching classes, and I had the middle school class that I was a TA for a little bit.
Because I know you and work with you, that makes so much sense. I think you would be a great teacher. I mean, in many ways, you've been a teacher here at 13 News Now with other people and other producers and me. You mentioned you obviously made the decision to go into broadcast, but do you remember the moment that you made that decision and what it was that pushed you one way over the other?
Now I'm thinking about it, teaching, it was a lot. it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I just ultimately thought that, I would be a better fit for journalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
I too almost went into teaching.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, I
did.
could see that too.
Yeah, I did. My senior year, I took some classes to look into it, and also had to work in a classroom. It's my second semester senior year. I mean, I was just teetering. I was passionate about broadcast journalism, still am, obviously. But I thought, okay, what if I spend a few years and Teach for America and just teaching, because I liked, being able to teach. I was doing some things on campus that were kind of in the same vein, and I really love kids, And I remember having the shadow in a classroom and seeing what all the teachers have to do every single day there in my school in North Carolina. And I was just blown away by all the juggling that they had to manage, and the organization that they have to have. There's so much that you have to manage as a teacher beyond teaching. Like, you have to get the atmosphere and everything in order for teaching, which you would think, that's your main thing. But if all the other things are not in order between, what the class, especially if a little, like what the classroom looks like, making sure kids are where they need to be, that they're listening, that your lesson plans are ready, all those things have to be in order for you to be able to do the job, in terms of teaching. And I just remember, that becoming a realization. And I too ultimately was like, I think I'm going to do this journalism thing. I applied for Teach for America. I got all the way to...
Really?
I did. I got all the way to, I think, the round just before the final round.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it's okay. We're not going to do that. And it actually turned out to be a blessing for me. But at the time, I was bummed. I was like, oh, man, I think I would have done this. In hindsight, oh, Sarah, I appreciate you saying you could see it. But all those other factors, there's no way. Oh, my goodness. There's no way I would have been able to juggle all of that. Also, the time that they have to get there every single day to do that stuff, the late nights that they have.
I feel like you're working, like your workday doesn't end when you leave work.
No.
There's so much that goes into those lesson plans that you create. Sometimes you have to create multiple lesson plans.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, I think what ultimately came down to it for me was like the fact that I was going to be responsible for lots of kids every single day. And it was a little nerve-wracking.
Yes.
So,
because we didn't even ask the not most important one, but the most asked. I feel like when people hear that I almost went into teaching, that they ask me at least, what age group would you have done? What grade? No, seriously, what grade were you thinking of doing?
I liked middle and high school.
Same.
I liked middle and high school, and then I was on track for history, to be a history teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no way I would have been a history teacher. Ironically, I didn't really love history until my adult years in college, those kind of things. But I was looking at doing either literature. I loved math. Oh my gosh.
Not me.
I could have been, I think being a math teacher I would have loved that. Like, I was the student when I was in like calculus and all those kind of classes, where I made an actual table of contents for my notes in my binder. Wow. So that even now, my mom keeps one of them. I can go back and I can look on the front page and say, okay, on this page of notes, I numbered my notes all year. This may have been both my junior and senior year when I figured that out. And I would just flip to it. It was like I had my own textbook for I loved math. Now I don't really use it as much, but even today, like, I'll try to do quick math in my head just for fun, and I loved it.
I'm not a math person at all. Like, I liked science up until math got really involved in it.
Yeah.
I was so bad at math, like I could never teach math because I just don't get it. I was definitely stronger in, writing and history. But yeah, math, like if I really worked at it, I could get it, but it just did not come naturally to me.
Well, now it's different. I talked to I told you I have a niece and nephew. They're 10 and they're 8. and then the youngest one is 1. So far off, not even close. But the way that they do math now, when I talk to younger kids, it's so different than the math in which we did, and probably the last 15 or 20 years, 15 years probably. So it's so different. Like we had to memorize a lot of like the main things of math, like what's no, this is basic,
The
2 plus 2
multiplication
multiplications,
tables.
what's 4 times 4, 5, all that kind of stuff.
What are they called? The Mad Minute? Do you
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
those?
something like you had to go through it.
Yeah.
And so now even today, like I can do 13 times 13, 15 times. I know what those are. I just know
Yeah.
what they are. And it's just so different. Like they have I think it's Common Core
Yeah.
was introduced after we were done, and the way they kind of break it out and make it into separate things. It's just so different. It's just a different way of doing math. So I don't know if I could do math now. I'd have to teach the kids that I work with, my kids. I hope I don't mess them up, when I do have children and get to that point where the math that I teach them is completely different than the style of math that they have, whenever that's going to be. But, it's interesting how all of that changes over the years, too. Like the way of teaching, how we teach it changes.
I'm still a count on my fingers kind of person.
Really?
Eugene, I'm not exaggerating. I'm so bad at math. I'm so bad at
Well,
math.
what if it's a big number?
That's what phone calculators are for. If I work on it, I can get it. It's just, I have to put in the work.
Oh my gosh, that is great. I love that. Using your fingers to not. Hey, listen, whatever works. There's no shame in that. Whatever works. I love to see it. So shout out to all of our teachers, no matter what subject or age range that you teach. Again, if you want to see more of that poll, it is available, Elon University poll. You can just search that and see it. And again, we typically do reach out to the folks there, Elon poll. So maybe, our next time that we have them, we might be able to get Dr. Husser or somebody to come on and talk about what they were able to find. So switching gears from that poll to another one. This one's a little bit different. This one's actually in Virginia. One was about education, we just told you about. This one we're just getting into our newsroom is on the state of hospitals and how people in Virginia feel about hospitals. This is coming from the Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association, which says Virginians hold strongly favorable views of hospitals and have had positive personal experiences in hospitals. However, it says that Virginians are expressing concerns about health insurance and the cost of medication. Okay. This is a statewide survey actually coming from Mason-Dixon Polling and Strategy. Again, we're getting this information from the Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association. And so just looking at it, Virginians hold hospitals in high esteem and say that they and their families have had positive experiences when visiting them for medical care. Overall, 81% of Virginia voters have a favorable opinion about Virginia hospitals, and 82% report a positive personal experience as a patient or close family member of someone receiving care. This is according to the statewide survey. Those findings are seemingly also aligning with results previously that showed positive views as well about hospitals in Virginia. But they also are underscoring, according to this poll, the many public health and economic contributions that hospitals are making in communities across the Commonwealth. Certainly we know that's the case here in Hampton Roads with the hospitals that we have and even the specialties that they have too. Here within our region, where we get people from across the state who come in and across the area who come into our hospitals here within the region. But data shows that in 2024, hospitals in the Commonwealth generated $69 billion in economic activity. That's a huge, major driver. More than 130,000 direct jobs. And they accommodated more than just under 4.5 million patient days and more than 800 inpatient admissions. So I mean, again, we know that hospitals are important, in terms of to our communities. Sarah, guess how many babies they say were delivered annually over the last few years in Virginia hospitals? This, as we're awaiting, we always get the first babies of the year sent to us from the various hospitals on January 1st.
I'm so bad at this too.
This
is more.
You don't need your fingers for a
like,
guess. You don't need your fingers for a guess. Oh, it's so great to see that happen in real time. Oh my gosh.
I think I'm going to be way off. I'm either going to be way over or way under.
It's no bad guess.
In Virginia in 2024, how many babies were born?
Hospitals delivered how many babies on average?
I'm going to say 8,000.
More than that. Way more than that.
Way more than that.
Way
Okay.
more than that.
30,000.
86,000.
Oh my gosh, I told you.
86,000. So there's a lot of babies being made in Virginia, being delivered in. They could be made elsewhere, but they being delivered in Virginia. How about that? But here's the thing. Here's where it kind of changes a little bit, because you have the positive views about hospitals in our state, but at the same time, it says that people are not as high on their opinions with health insurers, with 62% having an unfavorable opinion, and pharmaceutical companies with 75% favor not having the best opinion on pharmaceutical companies. When it comes to healthcare spending, a lot of the people who were polled said that out-of-pocket insurance costs like copays and deductibles were an issue, 32%. Monthly insurance premiums, 27%, and then prescription drug prices, 15%, as their top healthcare cost concerns. I think we could probably guess what those would have been too. And it's interesting to hear that as we're inching closer to that January 1st mark, in which we are expecting to see a lot of people see their healthcare premium spike, because there wasn't a resolution when it came to the tax subsidies for the Affordable Care Act that we've seen so far. So that is something that a lot of people are keeping high of mind. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of reporting and get some information on that come January 1st. But those cost concerns are high for people here in Virginia, even though they think highly of the hospitals. When it came to who was most responsible for rising healthcare costs, this is how Virginians listed their rankings. 35% blamed companies, pharmaceutical companies. 21% blamed the government, and then 17% blamed drug companies. So interesting to see there. They give some more data there. I see you have something pulled up that looks at regions. Sarah, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, I think I found the full report, and this kind of breaks it down a little bit more. So I guess by region, it goes further into like which region blames which category. Yeah. So I would
looking at Hampton Roads there, 31% say insurance.
That's the highest. And then government is next with 23, which is like close to, overall what the state said. I am noticing. I feel like more rural areas, so like Shenandoah and the South Side, they're a little bit higher on insurance for who they blame for a rising cost of healthcare. It is interesting to see by region.
Yeah, but it seems like everybody though blames insurance companies or their insurance the most, and then Roanoke Southwest. Look how high they have there for their hospitals. That was interesting too. Interesting data there. They have more.
Southwest, that's definitely more rural. That's probably the most rural, if I'm not mistaken.
Region,
and I know that, Yeah, and I know that rural hospitals has been a really, really big point, like a big topic recently when it comes to getting access to healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. On that note, more information from the poll. It says about 1/4 of voters, 28%, say that they experience a delay or denial of care recommended by a healthcare provider due to insurance issues. And of that group, 77% say the government should take action to limit insurance prior authorization policies. So definitely some people took note of some insurance issues that they had. 41% of Virginians say that online information sources ranging from medical resource websites to social media channels and internet personalities have at least some influence on their personal health care decision making. 59% said those sources do not influence them. Now that I'm a little concerned about. 41% of Virginians say online information from medical resource websites, and they don't really get into what exact websites they're talking about. Like, are they talking WebMD? Are they talking about a .org? But they also say that social media channels and internet personalities have influenced them on their personal healthcare decision making. That can be good and bad, depending on who the people are. Are they doctors? But I think I'll say this, what we get a lot of times when we bring on medical experts onto our stream and onto our shows, when it comes to your health, the best source that you can get that information from is your doctor. Please talk to your doctor and a healthcare professional and get that information from them. That is where you can get it the most. But to see that rising number, 41% influenced, that's close to half people polled across the state say that they are either getting information that is leading them to some form of, medical decision from, websites or social media or internet personalities. You want to talk to your doctors. Make sure that you do that. Just looking at some other things that I thought are pretty interesting. Let's see if there's anything else that pops up. We were just talking about the tax credits that are set to expire December 31st. And here's one thing of note in this survey. It says that by a nearly 4-to-1 margin, 75% to 19%, voters in Virginia say the U.S. Congress should extend tax credits currently available to help eligible individuals and families purchase health insurance plans, saying that the enhanced premium tax credits, which helps people pay for lower premiums, were helpful to them. Again, that is set to expire here in a few days, just 2 days at this point. It's estimated that as many as 100,000 people could lose coverage if the tax credits expire. So interesting there to hear from those who were polled here in Virginia. And we saw that too, though. We saw a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who were expressing support for an extension. It's just what comes with that extension is what we saw even from Republicans here regionally that were pushing for it. What comes with that extension was really what the issue was, the problem in that moment. Okay, we wanted to bring that to you, and I'm seeing something right now. Is this what I think it is? Hold on one second. You see that? Okay, so this is coming out of Utah right now. We are looking at it on our big board because it just popped up. You may know the name Tyler Robinson. That is a 22-year-old who is accused of shooting and killing conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. This was earlier this year at Utah Valley University, that tragic situation there. The suspected gunman in that, the 22-year-old Robinson, is expected in court, and it looks like they are queuing up right now the virtual court appearance, which does not appear to have started. But we're looking at it right now. It looks like we will likely see Robinson through a virtual appearance in the Utah County Jail. The judge there, his attorneys, and the prosecutors who are going to be a part. That is supposed to start here momentarily as they are queuing that up. Again, in Provo, Utah, where this killing took place. Here's what we're expecting through reporting out of this particular motion, that the judge is likely going to rule on a motion that was filed by media organizations seeking limited party status in the case. Okay, so kind of breaking this down, I'm looking over a few things here. A few weeks ago, some of those within the case argued over media presence and observation of future trial proceedings. And Robinson's defense team requested some clarification from the court over the procedures and over timelines and how communication should be with the media, especially when it comes to the media having access to non-public documents in the case. The defense also asked for the court to prevent, any of the, it's obviously such a big story. This is one of those where you want to make sure that you try to, if you're, either party, you want to keep things under control. But they asked the court to prevent the chaos that is out in the media from entering the courtroom. Okay, so we're expecting to hear some form of motion on that. Remember, Robinson has been charged with multiple felony counts, including aggravated murder and a violent offense committed in the presence of a child, aggravating factor. So there are so many people around there. That's just of some of the felony counts that he is facing. Others include felony discharge of a firearm, causing injury, and tampering with the witness, obstruction of justice. There are a lot of things that he is facing. I believe 7 counts in total. And the county attorney there in Utah is seeking the death penalty against Robinson, who is currently being held in jail without bail. So I don't think we have any audio from it at this point. Do we have audio from it at all?
No, it doesn't start till noon.
Okay.
And usually with court hearings,
Okay.
they don't always start on time. So if anything, I'm going to record on this and then maybe have it in the 1 o'clock stream.
Yeah, because it's important in the standpoint of, for those who are following this case, and make no mistake, there are many people who are glued into updates on this particular case, stemming from that September shooting. This will go into whatever the judge decides today. Let's make sure that is not there we go. Just to making sure. I some of the video I haven't seen in a while, Sarah, so I just want to make sure. But this will, as you see the chaotic moments of that day after that shooting, this will have a factor into how the information is released to the media, right? So what kind of access will media members, journalists, probably you're looking at video, cameras within the courtroom, what that will be like moving forward in the courtroom and then the court proceedings as well within the case. And so it's important in the standpoint of, how that access gets out. Either way, this is going to be reported on and that information is going to get out there. But certainly this will let journalists and reporters know how they're going to be getting that information out to their viewers, what kind of access will they have, and the two sides really trying to come to an agreement with the prosecutor and defense on how they provide that access, how they're going to manage this case that has just such nationwide significance when it comes to people having interest into what's going to happen to the person that authorities believe killed Charlie Kirk. And so